semester. We are very glad you. Thanks to those of you that are here. Thanks. We appreciate you being with us. Join me in welcoming our leadoff guest, field head coach Michael Ford.
And I'm always a leadoff
guy. Yeah. That's perfect.
So it's perfect.
I kind of think my first thought is leadoff.
Yeah.
In the relay, that's you.
Yeah. Nerves get out of me, and then Coach Drew can
anchor leg coming up after you. So.
Yeah.
Did you like that? Did you like being the leadoff guy? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's like you didn't like it at first.
I think the first leg is the slowest leg. Team, but also for our relay.
Sure.
And so for about 20 times in a row.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, remind everybody what was the best relay you were on? Like, who were the
year? It was me, Raul Howard, and Corey Williams, and then my Marlon Ramsey and
wow, man, that was good.
And so me and my room, we touched off
in a row.
Yeah,
that's great. Coaching here, and you got your indoor season underway. The results from that the Corky Classic meet.
Yeah, I mean, I think all our groups are since in our sprints and hurdles did it really well this year, and so I was telling people earlier. I said the problem, and then we take 2 weeks off. How they're going to come back, but they actually good, and then they were really focused on and running well.
Yeah, and sound did them.
Yeah, we I would say, the other 15% will get. I was very as a staff
at indoors last weekend in Love for you, and I know you had a bunch like men's.
Yeah, I mean, we always want to close it out on the ran really well, probably faster than I thought they were. High in our ladies. That group of young ladies made it national. It was kind of expected to the fall training. That's what. But they just ran really well and they competed hard. They did well. They did awesome. You go to who broke the school record in a weight throw, 19 meters, which is far. Cole Harding, it was a school record.
Wow.
I thought overall we did a great job. No race that I can have like
right. You got to love that. I mean, your first time out, first have that much success.
Yeah, I mean, preseason game or anything like that. Like, as soon as I thought we were very focused on what we had. More this week coming up.
Okay, so the men, you said 304.8 something. Right.
Second best time there. Behind you, the fastest time in the. So we do, but you get penalized to our time. University of Florida in like 2 weeks. We'll be still and see how we go.
before this week, before the communications, he was telling me about that. Has that always been a thing?
The funny thing is, we only college level.
Right.
At world they don't convert anything. Which got shot down. So, well,
Does that ever factor into somewhere because of the altitude?
the tracks themselves, like Texas Tech has so we'll continue to go there. And also, but most of the meets besides the Lubbock meet altitude until we go to nationals.
Right. Where you're going this week?
Yeah. It was to kind of get a feel for it. Even smaller than Kentucky. The it's a little tight, but then also was COVID year, so we were at the track
there.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. And what is Texas Tech? Obviously,
Texas Tech was there. Plains, New Mexico, Carlton, a bunch of. Yeah.
But I mean, you're running against the clock.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as we have Texas D1 schools, that will be fine.
That indoor facility on the Tech campus.
I want to say the football stadium.
It's.
No, it used to be the bubble.
Okay.
So it's their practice football field.
Oh. I know right where you're talking about. We were out there for basketball.
Yeah. The arena.
Yes.
The basketball arena.
Gotcha. Opening meet for Baylor track and field. I want to talk about some of your return newcomers. We'll take a break and do that when we host here on the Baylor Coaches Show. Baylor Coaches Show. Thanks to Rudy. And we'll be right back after this. And back with us on the Baylor Coaches Show. We're live at Rudy's on the Circle in Waco, our first show for the spring semester. Continuing with Coach Michael Ford, Baylor's track and field coach, our leadoff leg. Some good questions for you from the audience. You want to handle some of these?
Yeah, let's go.
It is our First Place Foods Ask the Coach. First Place Foods, that's a darn good pickle. First is from Roy right here. Roy is front and center. I think works all your meets also.
Yeah.
Roy's out there.
Make sure I get him a lot more equipment.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Roy says, great start to the season. What will be your strongest events this year, indoor and outdoor?
Well, that's a good question. I think we're always going to be strong in the relays. That's always going to be one of our trademarks even when Coach Hart was here. I also think our jump squad is going to be really well. I think the difference from this year to last year was we had a lot of seniors. And now this year I think our actually who's here. She's we have Aisha that transferred in, and I think Corey Johnson's going to that our throws group is going to do. They're all either redshirt freshmen or challenge each other to do well, and then of course we'll do well in those. So I'm looking forward to. I got a little work to do in the for probably one of our stronger events on it.
Boy, thanks very much. Got another one. Our first and Kelly Scott is right over there. Mentally for a meet.
That would be the one I would bottle up the most. I think for me, I think when we talk to our student athletes, is just thinking about being the best you.
Yeah.
To try to maybe visualize, go into a meet and think about it that way. The big thing is not. I think a lot of times people don't give up failing, and so we always can jump. If you jump 5'7", or were your parents in the stand and going into the competition? So just more visualizing, knowing that it's okay if they have a bad. Yeah.
What when you were?
Well, Coach Hart didn't. So you knew if you ran well, he would talk to you. If you didn't, I think those are but I think too, we on the running part of it, we always doing the meet, even though it might have been at a low that way. So when you got to a track meet, you kind of knew play. I would have different points on the. So no matter where I was, if I was in Waco, I would look at the different points. So one of the things I always struggle 400 my relay, and so one thing that me and Coach Hart did, he gave me a cup. We folded a cup together.
Really?
In my open races, and I felt so like a blanket, like a security. Junior and senior year,
just like a little paper,
just folded up.
Yeah,
and I would hold it like it was a.
Yeah, that's it. I got you. How about that? That's pretty good. Have Yeah.
Not yet.
You got that in your back pocket, though, if you need to.
Yeah.
Hey, that's pretty good from Coach Hart. How is Coach Hart? Haven't seen him in a
He's
little
doing
bit.
well. He comes by the office. He was there probably like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
He sent me a text after the meet's over. That's one thing I love about Coach. He's still engaged in the meet, and then if we do well, he's on me about, hey, keep it going, keep it going. If the relay's not running well, he'll tell me, hey, you need to change the order.
He's still coaching.
Yeah, so he's still coaching, and but it's been a great support. I mean, we talk probably at least once a week, and if I want to change something, or if I'm thinking about something, I mean, for almost a 90-year-old man who still loves the sport.
Yeah.
Had great success while he was at Baylor, and he was, I mean, my coach, almost like a father figure to me, and just give me words of encouragement and advice. And a lot of my training is based off what he did.
Yeah.
And so I always will give him utmost respect and everything.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Last time I saw him was a month or so ago, and he was going to do a Zoom with Michael Johnson, and he was trying to get me to help him. You know, what do I need to do for this Zoom? He didn't need somebody,
Right?
But he did it, and we worked
Really good. I mean, if I'm 90,
that.
yeah.
Oh,
So whatever his gene.
move as well as he does. We the makeup of your team, is it leans one way or the other?
Yeah, it's. I come back this year, like we still have a lot of veterans. You know, I think the COVID longer than probably either we want to. I think our makeup is seniors. We have some seniors, and I think our and sophomores, but then the transfers that we brought in. So we have but this year's they've been clicking on. One of the things that we talked about, being able to in your group, and so the first meet, different roommates.
Oh.
Roommate with a high jumper, and so we switched it so sprinter, and so just to kind of get to know them at the same time.
Yeah, I like that. That's real. Maria, she's here. Oh, there she is, right there. High jumper and working with Baylor Bears. Oh, well done, and there's prepared. Good deal.
Maria's been great. I mean, this year five, great teammate, awesome teammate for everyone, and I'm so looking forward. So it started off well in Lubbock, and
Nice, Maria. We're pulling for you. All right. Tonight. All right. Let's take a break. We'll be back with more from Rudy's Coach Michael Ford. And you're back with us on the Baylor Coaches Show live from Rudy's this evening. Thanks for being with us tonight. Time now for our Old Trapper What's Your Beef as we continue with Coach Michael Ford, Baylor track and field head coach. This is usually the beef of your schedule, okay? So it's brought to you by Old Trapper, and we got a sample of beef jerky for you if you'd like. You do like it?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Stop. You told me you liked it. We went through this beforehand. We're not going through that again.
Usually teriyaki is my favorite.
Maybe we have teriyaki there for you.
My favorite.
It is Old Trapper. Tell us about your schedule this year, indoors and then moving outdoors.
Okay, well, like we mentioned earlier, we'll be going to Albuquerque, New Mexico this weekend. Next weekend we'll be at Fayetteville, Arkansas for the Razorback. And then we'll take a week off, and then we'll go to Clemson for one of our bigger meets, and then we'll have another week off, and then we'll go to Big 12s in Lubbock. Yeah,
good.
And then we'll start outdoor. Well, we'll have nationals and then outdoor.
Right.
Yeah.
And nationals indoor are in Albuquerque, right?
Yeah. So big thing was we wanted to make sure that we got on the track early, to kind of test it out and kind of. Yeah. So that'll be the visualization that we'll.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And part of that is. There's some good competition be there this week.
Yeah. Really, we don't like the schedule as much. Just are really early in the morning.
Really?
And some of the running. The meet will be quick, but University, UCLA, Georgia. So it'll be
that's a good trip. Is that a bus?
No bus trip there, but we'll be flying. We'll be flying.
And then bus.
Yeah.
Very great. Tell us about the two home meets.
So, Lightheart Classic, that used to be the Baylor. Again, he's meant the world to me. For that, and then that'll be in March. And that weekend off after indoor nationals. Get some training in, and the other kids. So we didn't want to have a meet right after spring. Go to the Lightheart Classic, and then we'll have I think and then we right after the week after that for the time jump.
Schedule, good competition. Folks, those of you here and those of you watching or listening to the stadium, you need to come out there. Just come there and walk around and look at it. It's such a stadium across the parking lot from McLean Stadium. Do you hear those kind of comments when?
Oh, yeah. Like even this year when we were first meet, maybe 8 schools. Just because they wanted to come, and that we have great weather this year too. We'll have some pros that come back and run. London, so we'll have a couple of our. But the weather's been great the last few years. This year,
yeah. The question always is, will Michael be here? And
it's always an open invitation for him.
You
can ask
get him on the air right now.
Yeah.
Let's
yeah, actually, I talked to him last week. I'll ask him about coming down to him.
And we'd love to have him here.
Yeah, no,
because that would be. He's been here before.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Warner's going to come.
When you talk alums of Baylor track and field, wish list.
Yeah, I mean, you go from Michael Jordan,
right?
So he's always at the meets, and you got Reggie Witherspoon, you got Trey Hart, who's a Baylor Hall of Fame. Tiffany Townsend, you got Tiffany McReynolds. I mean, you got the list. The list goes on and on. A big family, and even last year when they came back, a lot of our former exes came back for my first year. It was definitely a blessing to see them.
Really cool. That's great. Y'all do a good job of keeping the alums engaged and making them feel like they're a part of the family, even though they've graduated.
Yeah, and that's our big thing is always talking about family first. We want to treat them as a person first before a student or an athlete. So I think that's probably my biggest blessing. People always ask me, like, what's your biggest accomplishment? I said that if I can call my former athletes, and now they're in their 30s and 40s, that's a great thing.
Wow. That really showed up at the B Association Hall of Fame and Wall of Honor banquet this year. Track was very well represented. You had a couple of track guys going in, and you had a lot of folks surrounding them.
Yeah, you had Quentin Englehart Summers come back, and then I can't remember also
Gary
the high
Kafer.
jumper.
Yeah, Gary Kafer.
And me and Gary actually got a chance to talk a little bit, and he gave me some tips on high jump, so I might bring him to Maria and Aisha.
There you go.
Kind of get them over that 6 foot bar. But it was also great to see him because the older alum, I don't know them real well. I can see their names in our media guides and stuff like that. But it was just awesome to see him. And then I got to see Reggie Witherspoon that I hadn't seen since he left Baylor.
Same.
And Trey Hartz was here. Yeah. And then Kirchina Taylor, who was one of our 400 hurdlers. So we had a good turnout. And hopefully we'll get a couple more alum into the Hall of Fame in a couple of years. Fame?
Yeah, you got a lot of good candidates that are already in there and that are coming up also. All right, headed to Albuquerque this week and off and running indoors. How do you it's such did all the work in the fall. Now you've started the indoor, outdoors, and then the Nationals are in long, so far away. How and spread out schedule?
Well, I think we just I think one of the things we talked about in our 6 months, that's a very long rounds, but can you be focused on the meets? It was Albuquerque, so we're going to focus on Albuquerque. So get back on the plane, we'll focus on I'm focused on all the meets, but
that's good advice.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's a great track there, isn't it?
They have SECs there.
Okay.
The nationals there. 2 of my national champions, Trey Hartz and Jacob Norman, they won their. But the meet next week will be it'll be like a mini national championship. Yeah. So we got a bunch of SEC schools, Big 12 schools there, Pac-12 schools there. So it'll be a high caliber meet, and so we make sure that we're ready to go.
Let me mention this or ask you this about the Big 12 with the 4 new here, and they'll be competing in the Big 12 schools. What will they bring to the league?
Yeah, definitely for that. More setup, field events, distance program. They're more sprints, but they're only a female. And then Cincinnati, they're kind of sprints. They sprinkle everything a little bit. Yeah. So will be a little different. And then Saturday because of BYU. In 24, 25, I think that might. I think on our conference list, championship maybe at one of those complexes.
Oh. That's cool, and the decision's already been made. Of BYU,
as I'm aware of. That's what.
And Houston coming in, but they're not. I mean, they're new to the Big 12, but they're not new. I mean, no. you know Houston pretty well.
Yeah. So Carl Lewis is the new head coach there, and he's doing a great job there. And they have an indoor track too, so that's probably another place we could go to.
Oh yeah.
For a championship. So looking forward to seeing Carl.
a lot of history there, in there between Baylor and Houston, thinking back to the Southwest Conference days.
Yeah. Those are my days.
I know, the glory years, right?
Yeah.
Really cool. That's great. Well, we appreciate you being with us. Safe travels to Albuquerque this week, and good luck there. Great opening meet in Lubbock this past weekend, and keep it rolling.
Well,
Thanks for your time.
No, thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
All
Michael
right,
Ford, Baylor track and field coach with us, leading off our Baylor Coaches Show tonight. We'll take a break. Be back with more in just a moment. Let me give you our Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics Health Tip of the Week. Don't let pain slow you down. We diagnose and treat sports-related injuries and provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike. Visit a Baylor Scott and White Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Specialist and move like you used to. Take a break. Back after this, the Baylor Coaches Show, live from Rudy's. And we're back live from Rudy's on the Baylor Coaches Show. We turn the bottom of the hour, and we will continue bonus time with Coach Michael Ford, Baylor's track and field coach, with us. We talked about the league and the new schools coming into the league, and what do you know? What do you hear about maybe future expansion? Anything like that? Other schools that are coming in?
No, I mean, I think Mac Rose has done a great job and kind of informing us on who's coming in, who's not coming in, and right now we're stuck with the new four, and that's what we're going to roll with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which is really great additions, I think, in every sport. Do you look at it that way for your sport specifically?
Yeah, I mean, of course you lose Texas and Oklahoma,
Yeah.
and they're Texas is more sprint heavy. They're sprint heavy for sure. So I'm glad that they're leaving, and Oklahoma is pretty much everything. They do everything.
Yeah.
But I think our conference is still one of the best conferences without them. And then we'll show them that we can still run without them in the meet. So we'll be good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Texas Relays, always on your schedule early in the spring. One of your early outdoor meets. Will you continue to go down there even when they leave the league, the Big 12?
Yeah, it's always for us, it's a big recruiting meet too. So
Right.
we'll definitely still go. Now this year will be our second. It'll be our second outdoor meet for the season. Yeah, and it's a big meet, a early national meet for us, and so we're looking forward to going back to Texas Relays.
Good. That's a good thing. You've had a lot of success there through the years.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for staying a little bit longer. Let's take a break. We'll let you go. We'll get Coach Scott Drew in here. So
Anchor Leg is coming.
the anchor leg is coming up on the desk. So take a break. Be back with Coach Scott Drew right after this.
All right. Thank you.
Tuned into the Baylor Coaches Show tonight, live from Rudy's on the Circle in Waco. Thanks to Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue. And join me in welcoming the head coach for Baylor men's basketball, Coach Scott Drew, with us. Coach, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me, sir.
Thanks for being here. How was practice today?
It was good. In fact, a couple players were glad that I had come to Rudy's. I couldn't show them film anymore. So
that's right. Had to get you out the door. 3-game winning streak as you join us tonight. Big win in Lubbock on Tuesday and headed to Norman this Saturday.
Yeah, so hopefully this show doesn't jinx anything, right?
It will not jinx anything. No.
No, the guys have really been doing a great job, and we've been improving. One of the younger teams in the Big 12. We're playing more freshmen than anyone else, so first couple games we learned a lot. We have room to grow, and hopefully we keep growing, and we'll be the best we can be by the end of the year. And we have guys that want to get better, and as long as we have that, we're excited as coaches.
You finally have everybody, for the most part, everybody back. I mean, that's a big part of it, isn't it?
No question. If people want to know like how injuries affect you, well, first you got to practice together, and we've been healthy, so we've been able to practice together, which gets your rhythm, gets your chemistry, improves you, and then allows you to play better. So knock on wood, hopefully we can stay injury free because our practices are physical, they're competitive, and we're getting better. So as long as we can stay injury free, we're excited about what we can put on the court.
What about your defense? Where do you feel like you are defensively?
Well, we're improving, although we're still not where we clearly need to be, but we are improving. In this league, you can improve, and it doesn't show drastically because the competition is so good. But our transition defense has improved. Our rotations have improved. And hopefully by the end of the year, our defense will be where it needs to be to allow us to accomplish what we would like to accomplish. But right now, it has to get better.
Somebody asked me this the other day, and it kind of stumped me. You've had so many lockdown defenders, stop-gap defensive guys. Davion Mitchell, of course, comes to mind. Who is your number one defensive dog on this team? Or is there one guy?
Well, it's clear that we don't have one.
Yeah.
And in the past, we've been really blessed because they've stood out so much. I mean, we had 3 one year in the top 15 for the Naismith Defensive Players of the Year. But it needs to be a collective effort, and it starts with everybody getting back, knowing the rules, knowing the rotations. And when you play young guys, defense is something that that takes time. There's physicality. There's scheming involved. There's just the pace is so much greater. So our offense is the number 1 ranked offense in the country right now. When we get our defense to join the party, we're going to be really dangerous. But that's a daily effort and work, and the staff's doing a great job. The players are doing a great job buying them. We just have to get better.
So your offense moved up to number 1.
Number 1.
Ooh,
hard to get above that.
Yeah.
So 16 assists, 3 turnovers will do that for you.
Amazing. That was amazing. That was in the win over Texas Tech on Tuesday. 3 turnovers in the game. You won a lot of games doing that.
A lot of games. We sell a lot of videos, coaching videos.
That's right. I like the way you monetize that. That's good. You mentioned your young guys that you've got and real contributors, especially Keontae George. He has just been fabulous. He's had a 32-point game against West Virginia. He had 27 the other night against Tech.
And Keontae's playing within himself. He's distributing the ball and passing the ball. He's getting to the free throw line. He's taking good shots. Defensively, he's doing a really good job talking. And at the end of the day, it's harder for freshmen this year and last year because of COVID than any other year. And really now and beyond because people are really taking advantage of it. Almost everyone that wasn't drafted and was a 4-year player, they decided it's better to go back to college than go overseas.
Yeah.
So there's so many fifth-year players that are, 23-year-olds versus 18-year-olds. That's very similar to a 13-year-old versus an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
13-year-olds aren't beating 18-year-olds, and it's hard for 18 to beat 23.
Yeah.
Then you throw in some 6 years, and that's 24. So, there's some college teams older than G League teams. So it's different, and our freshmen have done a great job in improving their play and physicality for that.
And there are some, you're the think the second youngest team in the league, but there are some veteran teams,
Yeah.
older guys. Everybody you play, pretty much.
Well, we're the second youngest, but we are the youngest as far as playing our young guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas is young, but they're not playing their young guys like we're playing our
Right.
young guys. So at the end of the day, it's who you play. And we're playing 3 freshmen, Langston, Josh, and Keontae, a lot of minutes. So they've done a great job. But, I mean, scouting reports, you go in Iowa State and 8 of them are seniors, 4th, 5th, 6th years. You go to West Virginia, the top 6 are six seniors. I mean, in Kansas State, Iowa State, and I believe one other ones are like in the top 10 in the NCAA as far as age. So things have changed with the COVID year, and it's just made it really hard for freshmen. And we're blessed to have freshmen that have improved and bought in and are playing good basketball.
Tell you what impresses me the most really about Keontae, I mean, he's obviously a really good shooter, scorer, but, man, he is a team-first guy, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, and that's part of why we liked him in the recruiting process is it's you want to find people that fit your culture. And Keontae cares about his team, he cares about winning, and he wants to be coached. So you can be a talented player and you have those characteristics, you fit in our culture, and he's gotten a lot better because of it.
How about Langston Love? Had to sit out after the injury and the surgery last year. He's really coming on.
Well, a lot of people thought, Langston, he's in his second year, but really you look at it, last year he was rehabbing and recovering the whole year and then didn't get cleared to basically October. So he was behind all the freshmen because he didn't even have a summertime to compete and play. So he's doing well coming back, and it usually takes you a half year back playing before you start to, and that's why I think we're starting to see him feel more and more comfortable and move better.
And another freshman getting a lot of minutes, Josh Ojonwuna. Boy, he's fun to watch. He just soaks it up, doesn't he? And gets
Go ahead and
better
say that
every
name
game.
again. That's pretty impressive.
I'm
right
saying
there.
Ojonwuna. How do you say it?
Well, Josh is doing real well.
Josh. That's fair.
But Josh is somebody that it's really hard for. It's so physical for the interior players, and very similar in football. Almost every lineman redshirts just because the physicality. So Josh, being an 18-year-old going against 23, 24-year-olds, has done a great job.
But he and Flo, pretty good combo, and Flo's going to start most likely because he's a veteran guy. But, man, those two together have been really good.
Well, and that's you got to have depth, and why we've been really good. The winningest Power 5 program in the country the last 3 years prior to this year was because we had a starting rotation. It wasn't just a 5-person lineup, because you're going to have injuries, you're going to have illnesses and whatnot, and we've been so blessed when we've gone to the bench in the past. I mean, look at last year. You go to the bench, you bring in LJ. This prior to the injuries, LJ. You bring in Jeremy. You bring in John. I mean, that's a pretty good bench right there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we got some questions for you from the audience. You good with that? Speaking of big guys, Tim Klein's right over here. You got a spot for him?
Yeah, I know.
Put him in?
Coaches always recognize tall guys.
I know you
so,
do.
Yeah.
Timmy says, who's the big guy over there? So you recognize the tall guys in the room. Here are some questions for you from our audience. Our First Place Foods Ask the Coach. First Place Foods. That's a darn good pickle. First from Steve Van Wagner. Steve is right there behind the camera. Steve says, have you settled on your rotation for this season?
Well, first of all, Steve, that's outstanding penmanship.
Yes, it is.
That's very
Wait.
very impressive.
Is that you or is that Diana?
That's
It's
a wife.
actually
Okay.
Diana,
Now I feel a little better. All right. So, but we this last game we went to an 8-man rotation, and normally as the season begins, coaches tend to have a longer rotation till you figure things out. And we've been playing 9, and I think we'll play 8 moving forward. But with that, that 8 can change with injury, illness, whatnot, and foul trouble. Then you are playing 9. So it's great to have the option to play 9. But right now, I think we've settled on an 8-man rotation. Good question.
Very good, very good. All right, Jessica Van Kelly is right over there. Jessica says, beside yourself, who is the most vocal coach on the sidelines during the game?
We have a vocal staff, so we got a lot of people talking. That's why I leave the bench so I get some peace and quiet. No, I think head coaches are only as good as their staff, and staffs are only as good as their players. And I'm really blessed. We have a great staff, and they know their roles, and They know when they need to be vocal, when they need to make suggestions. And again, I couldn't be selfishly. Obviously, they're really important X and O's wise, but selfishly, they make me a better husband, father, Christian man, and they do an unbelievable job mentoring our student athletes. And if anyone ever heard their chapel services, they'd be like, we're really blessed.
Yeah, amen to that. They are great. All right, Teresa Van Kelly, right over here. Teresa has a question. What has been the best team-building exercise you have done in the past?
No question. Going to Italy. Right there. I mean, Lake Como, Rome, Florence, Trieste, that really bonds you. So I highly recommend it.
Sign me up. That is good. When can you take another foreign tour?
Oh, this summer.
This summer?
This summer.
I thought they were every 4 years or something.
It is summer.
Well, all right.
Hey, time goes, doesn't
Sign
it?
me up. All right, and then Nani Orozco is right there, and he says, this is a good question. Baylor fans love Everyday John. Jonathan Chumwa Chachua, can you give us an update on this amazing young man?
Yeah, thank you for asking. And John's such a delight to see every day. His work ethic is obviously inspiring, but he's been able to get in practice, and that's really helped our team because he has such a motor. He's so physical that it makes other people play harder, makes them be more physical. So it's great that he's able to do some stuff now, and he'll continue to progress. He's way ahead of schedule. So, but anyone that knows John knows that he's a freak, and that's in a good way. I mean, he can eat some garbage and still look like Zeus, and and he works so hard that it's inspiring, uplifting, motivating. But I can tell you that when you have a player like that in practice, it really benefits the team because they have to keep up with his level of intensity. And hopefully one day soon we get him back on the court. We can't wait for that.
Ooh, that'd be great. And he is engaged on the bench, isn't he?
Tremendous, yeah.
Yeah, which is huge. All right, great questions. Thank you all very much. First Place Foods, Ask the Coach. First Place Foods, that's a darn good pickle. Take a break. Back with more with Coach Scott Drew, Baylor basketball, right after this. And back with Baylor head basketball coach Scott Drew on the Baylor Coaches Show live from Rudy's. Thanks again to Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue. Coach, we've talked a lot about it. There's a lot of conversation about the Big 12 this year. And just obviously the best basketball conference in the country. I mean, night in, night out, it is just a war out there.
Well, it's the first time going into conference play that every team was projected in the NCAA tournament. So what that means is if everyone's an at-large team, there are no bad at-large teams in the NCAA tournament. So basically every game is like a a final 32-round game because you have a lot of first-round games that are versus one bid leagues, which isn't the same as an at-large. So that means each and every night you're playing an NCAA tournament game to go to the Sweet 16. And that's great for you net-wise, not great for you sleep-wise.
Yeah.
But I heard Fran the other day was saying that our conference average net was 26 and change, and I think the next best league was 58 or something. It wasn't even close. Yeah. So, again, such a special year in the Big 12 because normally there's one or two teams that aren't projected in the field, or three. And, I mean, to have everybody, that's crazy.
Last I saw, 10 of the top 11 toughest remaining schedules were the 10 Big 12 schools.
And that there is a blessing, and that is each and every night there's no bad losses, and there's only good win opportunities. The tough thing is each and every night is such a grind. I mean, you look at it, and there's so many one-possession games. The physicality, I don't know how many concussions we've had in our league, but we've had our share. So, again, if you're a college basketball fan, you love watching the Big 12. If you're a coach, you want to be in a league where each and every night you're challenged like that. And if you're a player, you want to play against the best. That's the Big 12.
Last two national champions from the Big 12, of course, Baylor in 2021. Is this the toughest, from what you've seen so far, toughest this league has been in your 20 years?
No question, from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Now, there's been a year or two where maybe you took three teams that had a chance to go to a Final Four all in the same year, and I don't know if we have that or not because until the year is over, you got to see where injuries come into effect because you knock on wood, someone has a season-ending injury that changes their chance of going far. But if everybody stays healthy, I mean, there could be 6 teams in the Sweet 16 from the Big 12.
Amazing. Yeah, and wouldn't be a surprise, really.
Yeah.
All right, we got another question for you. Aaron in Waco asked, if you were doing a scouting report on yourself, on Baylor, what does that look like? I mean, you can't focus on Keontae. You can't focus on Adam Flagler, L.J. Cryer. I mean, you can't focus on one guy, can you?
Well, I'm not going to say how to stop us,
okay.
so I'm smarter than that.
That's what I told Aaron you'd say.
But I can tell you one thing. As a coach, you go into each and every game, and if there's a team that only has one person that can beat you, you like playing those teams. When they have 4 or 5 guys that can beat you or are capable of having big nights, those are a lot tougher to prepare against. And we're getting great production from our starting 4, basically double figures. And then as we continue to get Josh and Flo, we've done a great job in hitting them, and they're finishing better at the rim, and that's really putting pressure on the defense. And then you go to the bench is Langston, Josh, and then Caleb. Yeah. I mean, Caleb last game, his plus minus was tied for the best on the team. So he gives you that toughness, physicality, and always you never have to worry about him playing hard. So I mean, you start to get in the role, you start to get in rhythm. Hopefully we can keep that up. Coaches always want to make shots, and you know that all we can control is the shot selection. You can't control it going in. But if we keep getting the right shots, then hopefully we can get the offensive rebounds on those misses, keep people out of transition, improve our defense, and then it could be an exciting end of the season.
A couple of guys we haven't mentioned yet, transfers in this year. Jalen Bridges, transferred from West Virginia, and Caleb Lohner from BYU. Those guys really starting to find their roles and really contribute.
Yeah, and they both of them did so well in the early practices, and then we got into games, and both of them showed flashes. And Jalen, I think the biggest surprise was he got off to a slow start shooting, and he really in practice was making shots, and he came in as someone with that reputation that we knew is a shot maker, and so it was a matter of him feeling comfortable to start making them in games, and that's really helping spread out the offense now that he is. And Caleb's really done a great job transitioning. He played the 5 at BYU, and he lost weight, and he's been playing on the perimeter a lot more and really improving his perimeter defense and perimeter skills. So both of them done a great job.
That's great. Coach, we'll let you go off to Norman to play Oklahoma on Saturday. Continued success, and thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Baylor fans. Appreciate you.
All right, Coach Scott Drew, Baylor men's basketball, number 21 in the nation in the poll this week. Final break. We're back to wrap things up right after this on the Baylor Coaches Show. And back to wrap things up on the Baylor Coaches Show tonight, live from Rudy's. Thanks to Coach Michael Ford for being on with us. They'll run at the Martin Luther King Invitational in Albuquerque, New Mexico, coming up this weekend. Thanks to Coach Scott Drew. The Bears on the road at Oklahoma on Saturday. Big Monday on Monday, a whiteout in the Farrell Center. Baylor in Kansas, 8 o'clock Monday in the Farrell Center. Thanks for being with us. For now, good night from Rudy's.
This has been an exclusive presentation from Learfield.